It's giving House of the Dragon, you know, some Daemon and Rhaenyra vibes. Hi friends, it's me again. Today we are doing one of my least favorite things ever, and it's going through the books that have been on my shelf for almost a year that I have not touched. There are quite a few, okay? I was looking at my bookshelf as I was unpacking my new place, and I realized that I have read less than 50% of the books that I actually own, yet I still keep buying books. Y'all know my saying, that could have been gas money. So the fact that I seem to have a problem with buying books and not actually reading them, I did make it a goal to read at least 50% of the books I already own by the end of the year. That's gonna be a little hard for me because I have been struggling with reading a lot this year because I am in this new form of life. It has been very hectic. I've been very stressed. Why not try to motivate myself a little more by talking about the books that I actually really want to read that I've owned for a long time. I have 11 books here. There are obviously more that I could choose from, but these 11 I always look at the most. First up, we have Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. I'm pretty sure this is a trilogy and it has to do with basketball players. However, I've also heard a lot about the trigger warnings in this book, and I feel like that's why I've been scared to pick it up, because it's not just a cute sports romance. The events in here are actually things I feel will trigger me, so I really want to read it because a lot of people love it. So it's definitely been on my radar for the longest time, but once I found out about the content in this book, I was like, that's for sure something that's gonna trigger me. So I'm trying to go into it when I'm in a very good headspace, because that is very important for me when I read books where things in it will trigger me. That's why I haven't picked this gorgeous book up yet, but I'm super excited. I'm super excited to jump into Kennedy Ryan because I haven't yet. It's a shame, honestly, but I'm gonna start with Long Shot and hopefully I like it. Hopefully I go through it and can appreciate the series like other people, but I'm not gonna lie and say that I am not scared to open this. If you are wanting to read this as well, I highly recommend you check up trigger warnings, because once I did, I was like, let me make sure I go into this when I'm able to handle the contents in this book. The next book I desperately want to read is Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. I really haven't read a Colleen Hoover book in months. I think the last one I read was Reminders of Him when it first came out, and I'm kind of ready to dive back into some Colleen Hoover because when I started my reading journey last year, I was really hooked on most of her books. Her books are very easy to follow. I always finish them very quickly, and I'm in the need for that. Like, something in her writing just makes it easy to get through. I hear a lot about this book and how underrated it is and how a lot of people don't really talk about this, and I think it's interesting. I have no idea what it's about actually, but I do like going into Colleen Hoover's books pretty blind because I'm always shocked by the plot twist. Definitely want to read this by the end of the year, and hopefully it will help me get out of this weird slump I'm in as well. Next up, we have One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I am so excited to get to this actually, and I am excited to have my heart ripped out of my chest. I had a hard time picking between this and After I Do because I do own both of those books, and I hear a lot of good things about After I Do as well. A lot of people say it reminds them of All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover, which is one of my favorite books by her. The plot in this one intrigues me a lot, and a lot of people get heartbroken by it as well, and y'all know I love pain. I think the gist with this one is the main character is married and her husband dies or goes missing or something, so years pass, and then I think she gets remarried or she's in a relationship with someone else and they're doing fine, and then her previous husband comes back into the picture. I think, unpopular opinion, I actually really love love triangles. Like, I know a lot of people don't because they want to root for one couple and one couple only, but I do always love the idea of someone else coming in and the main character falling in love and having to choose. I don't know why, it's very toxic of me, but so far the information that has been given to me just from the back and what I've heard is enough to make me think I'm really gonna like this, so I can't wait to pick it up. Next up, we have A Million Junes by Emily Henry. This is actually one of the only books I have not read by Emily Henry. If you know me, you know she's my favorite author ever. People We Meet on Vacation is my favorite book ever, so I really want to dive into the books that she wrote before all of the beach read, People We Meet on Vacation, and Book Lovers fame. I actually think she is one of the most beautiful writers ever, and I always find myself relating to her female main characters, which means the absolute most to me. So I know this one is a bit different. I believe it's YA, which is very scary for me because I don't read YA, but when it comes to Emily Henry, I will do that for her, you know. I've also heard that this book deals a lot with grief, and I feel like that's something I can relate to as well, so thanks, therapy. I'm excited to dive in, one because it's Emily Henry, two because it's kind of a genre change for me, and I just really want to get to most of Emily Henry's backlist so that I can appreciate her older works as well as the ones that have blown up on TikTok and stuff recently. Okay, don't get mad at me for this one. I've literally been talking about it for over a year at this point. Get a life, Chloe Brown. I need to do better because I hear so much about this series. It is actually a shame how long this book has been on my shelf. Like, it's one of the first books I bought and I still have not read it. Like, I can even tell the pages are yellowing at this point, so that lets you know how long I've owned this book and I need to read it like immediately. I know this book, as well as the entire series, does well at talking about chronic illness and other kind of invisible disabilities, and that's something I hold near to my heart as well. So this is definitely a series I feel like I'm going to enjoy. I think what stopped me in the past so much is the fact that it's written in third person, and I hate third person writing. For some reason, it just takes me so long to connect to the characters when books are written in third person. I know it's an unpopular opinion and like it's something I can easily get over, and I've been trying. It's not that I have a problem with reading third person per se, like I can do it. I just think I need to be in the mood for it. So once I get in the mood for some third person writing, I'm definitely jumping in to Get a Life, Chloe Brown and the rest of the series because it needs to be read like immediately. This is embarrassing for me. The next book that's been here for a long time is The Roommate by Rosie Danan. I also think this is written in third person as well. It is. So that's something I'm definitely gonna have to pick up when I'm in the mood for it. As usual, I don't know a lot about the book. I'm just pretty sure that the main male character is a porn star and that this book is very sex positive. So definitely love that. And I know a lot of people don't love this cover. This is like the UK cover that was sent to me. But I really like it. The pink and the yellow is just really cute to me. It looks like a starburst. The next book I want to read is A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. This is also one of the first books I bought last year. I know this book is gonna ruin me, okay? The amount of tears and pain people are in when they talk about reading this book, it's kind of something that scares me actually, especially because I always see people like, oh my god, I just read the first 3 pages and I'm already crying. Why? Like, what is happening in this book that's gonna make me cry by page 3, you know? Before we continue on with the video, I do want to talk about today's sponsor, which is Blackstone Publishing. Thank you so much for sponsoring today's video. Blackstone Publishing released this bad boy, Pignon, Scorbion, and the Barbershop Detectives by Rick Blywes. I hope I got that right. I'm so sorry if I didn't. Essentially, this book takes place in 1910. Our main character, Pignon Scorbion, moves to a small town and is the new chief police investigator. And once he moves there, people don't really see the need for him to be there until crimes start happening. He decides to team up with the people at his local barbershop, which explains the title, the Barbershop Detectives, you know, you get it. Okay. Pignon also meets his match when Thelma Smith comes to town, and she is newly single, so there's some tension there, if you know what I mean. So obviously this takes place in England, and it exists in the same universe that Sherlock Holmes exists in. So if that intrigues you, if you want some mystery kind of vibes, a little bit of romance, some suspense, I mean, what do we expect with something that's in the same universe as Sherlock Holmes, you know? If you want to try something new, highly recommend Pignon, Scorbion, and the Barbershop Detectives. Obviously, because I love you guys, I put the link to buy this in the description. Give it a go, check it out, and let me know if you like it. So now we're gonna go into more of the darker, smuttier kind of books because I wouldn't be me unless I incorporated smut somewhere, right? We have American Queen by Sierra Simone. I hear so much about this book, and what's surprising to me, a lot of people who mostly read smut, they usually say this is one of the hottest, smuttiest, sexiest series they've ever read, and that's enough to intrigue me because y'all know it does not take much for a smut scene to affect me, right? But the fact that I have so many mutuals who strictly only read smut, most of them say that this series is out of this world smutty. Like, that just says a lot to me, and I trust these people with my life and with my wreck. So I am so excited to get to this when I am in the mood to be an absolute whore. So as of this summer, I do own the entire trilogy, so I'm really excited to just binge this because I've heard a lot of good things. Like, a lot of people don't complain about this that I've seen. Oh god. Before I pick up this book, do not judge me. There's so much controversy around it, but I want to read it just to say that I've read it and that I can form my own opinion, you know? So do not judge me when I hold this book up, but I want to read Credence by Penelope Douglas. Hear me out, okay? I basically know the gist of this. I think the female main character has to move in with her uncle and his 2 sons, and apparently she has to choose between the 3 of them. It's giving House of the Dragon, you know, some Damon and Rhaenyra vibes. People either like this book or they hate it. I don't even want to say love because I don't see a lot of people like, oh my god, Credence is the best book ever. I do know people who read this and have enjoyed it, but I also know people who regret buying it, who regret opening the first page. Like, there's just so much going on with this book. and that intrigues me the most. I've read Penelope Douglas books before. I kind of know what I'm getting myself into. The conversation surrounding this one is always something that I feel like I just need to form my own opinion on. The responses to this are just so polar, and I don't like when a general audience has a polar opinion on something because it makes me just want to form my own, because I'm like, do we like this or do we hate it? What is the truth? So I will be hopefully finding that out. Yeah, wish me luck. I'm kind of terrified to open that for a number of reasons. We're almost done. The next book I really want to read by the end of the year is Sinner by Sierra Simone. I read Priest, I want to say, in March. I actually listened to that as an audiobook, and for the most part I really enjoyed it. I just hear that this book is a lot better. A lot of people love this book. They say it's their favorite in the series, as well as the last book. That's a gradual thing I like in a series. Like the first book, if it's meh, but the second and the third aren't, that's enough to sell me on the series, honestly. Like, I like series that have a lot of growth in them. I forgot the main girl's character's name, but I'm pretty sure she's a woman of color. With a man like Sean, I see nothing less for him. Like, I'm not surprised that he is with a woman of color because he just gives off that energy, you know? I'm actually debating on buying the audiobook to this as well, because the narrator for this series is actually very good. Everyone always recommends reading the series as an audiobook, and because I read Priest as an audiobook, I can attest to the fact that I really preferred listening to it instead of reading it for some reason. Like, I don't know. The way Sierra Simone wrote it, it was kind of more impactful to listen to what was happening instead of reading about it for some reason. I remember I tried to take a break from the audiobook and picked up the physical copy that I have, but I was like, this hits a little different as an audio. It's just got that vibe to it, so I'm really excited to meet Sean and his little lady. And lastly, I would love to read Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington, I think. Yes, I'm pretty sure this is a very dark book with triggering topics. I remember on TikTok there was this big discourse about why this book shouldn't be marketed as romance, because there are a lot of serious undertones and things that happen where romance is not the center plot. So that's what intrigued me the most, because when I picked it up, I was like, oh, this cover is cute. A lot of people were saying it was a romance, so I bought it. But then afterwards, everyone was saying, no, this is actually something you need to take serious, something you need to check up trigger warnings with. Like, do not go into this book expecting something light and fluffy. And that's what also intrigued me, but something I kind of wanted to take my time with and really pick up when I was in the mood for it. So that's why I feel like it's been on my shelf for a while, but I do hear a lot of people say that they love this book a lot. I'm excited to see what this is about, actually, because I'm still not really sure, and I don't really want to read the back. Like, I kind of really want to go into this blind outside of checking up trigger warnings. Alright, Bessie, so these are the 11 books that I have had my eye on for the longest time. They have lived on my shelf for a very long time, and I think it is time to definitely crack them open. Like I said, I've been in the weirdest reading slump for the past 3 to 4 months now, and I'm pretty sure it's because I've been mainly reading on my Kindle. So I definitely want to get back to my physical girl era. Like, I miss actually holding a book and reading it. It's just so much more convenient sometimes to just read on your Kindle, but that has kind of slowed down for me. Please let me know your thoughts if you have read any of these. I would love to know if what I know about the book is actually what happens in it. I guess I'm asking you if Book Talks marketing is kind of, you know, doing its job. As usual, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like me, please subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Mwah.